Welcome. This week we're going to be exploring how clubs can capitalise on increasing recreational non-racing activity that we've seen a real growth in over the last couple of weeks. Some clubs have even reported seeing a recent growth in membership as people are looking for local, accessible, family-friendly activities. So to help explore this topic, I'm joined by Steve Mitchell, who's the Regional Development Officer for London and South East. Welcome, Steve.
Hi, Gareth.
So what type of activity are you seeing in the clubs in London and South East at the moment?
Yes, that's really interesting. There are clubs out there that are delivering very limited racing within the guidelines, but the interesting factor that we're seeing on the ground currently is the amount of recreational activity that's taking place. It's certainly looking to be an area of growth at a time when clubs are gently opening up and club members are looking to come in and use their club.
Yeah, and what type of activities are they offering? Not racing, you've already said that.
Yeah, so a real mixed bag. I mean, clubs that in recent years diversified and have maybe welcoming stand-up paddle boards or sit-on-top kayaks. So a real mixed range of activity, mostly recreational sailing. So family units coming in or a small group of six within the authorised groups of six coming in and taking part in an activity. So just sailing around the lake or sailing off of the beach.
Sounds perfect, doesn't it? People just loving being back out on the water.
It is, yeah, it's really coming through. And I mean, a good number of clubs reporting a higher than average level of participation for this time of year as well. So really positive. It hasn't just been about trying to push and promote racing necessarily, whilst that sits obviously in the background with clubs wanting to do that. But on the ground, they're just seeing a lot of people coming through, enjoying the club, getting onto the water.
It's such an important part of club activity, isn't it? And I was wondering, have you got a feel for who these recreational sailors are? So are they racers who can't race, so they're just going for a cruise, or are we seeing genuine non-racers who perhaps we wouldn't normally see in the clubs for whatever reason?
Yeah, it appears to be a mixed bag. So folk that would ordinarily go racing, turning up to the club, again, getting together with a small group to go out and go on the water, maybe in the same class of boat. But equally, those racers coming along to the club, bringing their own family. So using the opportunity to bring the children in or immediate family and going out sailing either in their boat or using one of the club boats. So a real mixed bag. But, you know, and as I say, people coming out of the woodwork, realising that they've got that club membership. Are they using it this year? What have they normally done? And actually coming down to the club and, you know, getting their boat out on the water.
Yeah. And we've even seen clubs report an increase in membership, and that's by drawing in recreational sailors.
Yeah, and again, that's certainly coming through. It depends on the size of the club, obviously, the size of the clubhouse, how large the membership normally is, but relatively speaking, you know, the larger clubs are seeing a good number of people visit the website, contact the club and join, and the smaller clubs are seeing a smaller number of people. It's relative to the size and scale that they offer in a normal world. So yeah, again, it's caught quite a few clubs off guard on that one, although they're settling into receiving these inquiries now.
Yeah, it's an unexpected positive, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And okay, so we've got these new recreational sailors coming in, possibly new members, possibly older members coming out of the woodwork, or existing members coming out of the woodwork. But how are these clubs now supporting those recreational sailors? What are they doing to get them on the water and to help them?
Well, again, the feedback appears to be, first of all, the fantastic job most clubs are doing, all the clubs I'm speaking to, in the way they're preparing the ground, preparing the policies and the procedures, using their small group, their COVID-19 team within the club, as per the guidance RYA Sport Development have pushed out recently. So that's, first of all, preparing the ground and making people feel confident. The second part is very much in around communicating what is possible, making folk feel comfortable that when they come into the club, there are processes in place. And I think that would extend to, you know, the immediate family if they're coming in with the family unit. So if it's a partner that doesn't normally use the club, but they're actually feeling more confident that they can turn up with their children and the policies in place. And the other factors there would include the facilities being available, so folk knowing exactly what they can and can't do when they come in. And not to mention, lastly, the welcoming environment and people just feeling a lot more relaxed, given, you know, what we're currently going through at the moment with COVID-19. So that very welcoming environment, a lot of organisations so they know who the go-to person is when they arrive, and just feeling comfortable in that setting.
Yeah, everyone's had that different experience of lockdown, haven't they, of COVID-19, and it's impacted all of us. So that welcoming environment, putting people at ease, is going to be really important, because people are a bit more edgy. They, you know, everyone's cautious. So yeah, we've got to help people.
Yeah, and I suppose we can add to that just the safety element for some clubs and the way they've risk assessed actually accessing the water and being on the water, just being really clear with what you can and can't do and what the club's able to support. That's really helped with confidence. And, you know, I think it's a good sign of clubs just taking really small measured steps to begin with to get to this point. So it's been really good to see.
Absolutely. So what top tips can you provide clubs to help them with capitalising on this growth of non-competitive, non-racing club activity?
Well, first of all, I suppose communication, and that's clearly that appears to be what's going on at the moment with the success clubs are seeing. So communicating with the members, and typically in this COVID-19 time situation that we're in at the moment, it's often another layer of communication out to members, making sure that they feel comfortable. So ongoing communication, making feel members, people coming into the club, making them feel safe. Communication is key. The welcoming, having a clear and I would say a simple set of processes in place. So not overcomplicating it, but just so that when folk arrive at the club, they know exactly where they should be, where they shouldn't be, who that go-to person maybe is on the beach or on the slipway, and just having that set up in place. And then space. I'm hearing clubs are taking small steps initially rather than trying to manage large numbers. So, and they're reviewing it continually. So just having enough space within the club and making sure people have got enough room. Now, in some settings, that might be that it's a limited amount of people that can access the club. And again, it all depends on the size and shape of the club, the environment, how you access the water. And in other settings, clubs can go a little bit bigger and allow more people to come in. So space is a clear one there. And then lastly, what I think is most important is the reviewing process. And again, really encouraging to see the number of clubs and the amount of effort that's going on within club committees at the moment with the way they're reviewing processes on a daily, on a weekly basis. Reviewing is absolutely key. There's no rule book. There hasn't been a book with any of this, and folk have been taking small measured steps at a time and reviewing those processes. And again, to add to that, it really does depend on the size of the club with how quickly a club might review. And, you know, as we hear more and more government announcements and we begin to ease with, we're beginning to be eased by the government, clubs are reacting to that as well. So in certain smaller settings, clubs might, do it once a fortnight. But yeah, reviewing is the fourth tip there.
Brilliant. That sounds really useful. Feels like we've got a real opportunity here at the moment to make the most of these kind of the non-racers and to bring them into the club. They're often the less vocal majority in many sailing clubs, and this is an opportunity to make sure that they're welcome, to create space for them, to communicate really effectively with them, get them on the water, make sure they're having a really fun, safe time. And I think going forwards, make sure that we continue to create that space for them and keep them sailing regularly as we come out of lockdown and spend more and more time on the water. So there we go. Got some top tips for getting more people on the water more often, basically. Don't forget to like this video, to share it with your fellow club committee members, and to subscribe to our RYA YouTube channel. Stay safe and keep in touch.